It's Monday, August 31st, 2020, and the Georgia Secretary of State's office is up to their favorite, voting shenanigans. Let's check it out. This morning I received a new copy of the Georgia Poll Worker Training Manual. It is the August updated manual, and it's 24 pages shorter than the original April updated version. Besides misspelling the word polling on 5 separate slides, I really can't make this up. For some reason, the Secretary of State's office decided to remove the opening the polls zero count form entirely from this training manual. Now, if you're an election nerd like me, you know that the zero tape is attached to the top left corner in that little box that says attach zero tape here. In the new training manual, not only have they gotten rid of the clean and elegant opening the polls zero count form, they've replaced it with this crappy eyesore and moved the attach zero tape box here. Now, if you're really paying attention, you'll notice that they did more than just move where you staple the zero tape. They've also changed the destination. The opening zero tape will be attached to the pink copy of this form for the Clerk of Superior Court office. I know it's hard to believe, but this beautiful bureaucratic sentence is in direct violation of state election board rules, specifically Rule 183-1-12-.10, subsection 5. Such form shall include the date and time it was executed, shall be attached to the zero tape generated by the ballot scanner attached to that ballot box, and shall be returned to the election superintendent with the polling place recap forms at close of the polls. Did you catch the little trickeration they tried to pull on you? The pink sheet goes to the superintendent, not to the Clerk of Superior Court. That's the yellow sheet. But here's what really pisses me off. I submitted a formal complaint to the state election board just this month, specifically about an improper handling of an open records request for a zero tape. Let me tell you the story of one open records request and the tale of 2 poll tapes. I requested the Marietta 5A and the Marietta 5B polling location poll tapes on the very same open records request. I submitted my open records request with Janine Evler, the Cobb County Elections Director. To her credit, I received the 5A poll tape the very next day, poll tape and zero tapes all included. The poll tapes and zero tapes for Marietta 5B were an entirely different story. Supposedly, the 44th ballot jammed the scanner, so they had to rescan all the ballots on the 15th, and I didn't get the MR5B poll tape until the 16th, a week after the election. There were some other serious problems with the MR5B poll tape that I didn't even notice that I was not sent a copy of the zero tape. On July 8th, I asked Janine Evler to send me the MR5B zero tapes that were missing from my MR5B poll tape. She said that the zero tape was not part of the poll tape, which is interesting for 2 reasons. One, the zero tape was sent for my MR5A request, which was literally on the exact same open records request. And I spoke with Deidre Holden, who is the Paulding County Elections Director, and she states that the zero tape is part of the poll tape. I'm looking at the video of the training for opening the polls, and they say print the zero tape, and then that's what you post like at the polling location, right?
Yes.
But they never print more than one?
Well, the way we do it is we print 2. The first one we print, we tear off and we put on the wall or on the door.
Right.
And then we print another one that's attached to the results tape when it runs at night. So there's always a zero tape on there when people are actually putting their ballots in the scanner.
Right.
It's just rolled up. So there's a zero tape attached to your results tape when you run that results tape at night.
Right. And that's what I've always seen. I mean, I've requested poll tapes before because sometimes they'll post it in a way like inside and it'll be curled up on itself and there'll be a little bit you can't see because it's face down on the floor. And that literally happened this past time at another Marietta polling location, and I requested both of them at the same time. I got that one, and that one came with the zero tape. But the one that she couldn't locate that didn't come in until the next week, where they had to, I guess, rescan the ballots or something to get the numbers because they couldn't print because they said the scanner jammed. And I'm just like, I got a big problem with all this. I mean, I don't think I'm out of line here. I think that, and then she's like, oh, we sent all the evidence, the zero tapes, to the Georgia Secretary of State. And I'm thinking, this is just a delay. And shouldn't they have a physical copy of the zero tape with their poll tape?
Yes, and if you'll remember that sheet that I sent you, that's like who gets what and what to keep and all that stuff. If you'll read that, she may not have that tape in her possession, but it is in the possession of the county record keeper.
Oh.
Like if they use the clerk of court to be the official records keeper, all she got to do is go over there and open that box and get it out.
If you had, do you keep a copy or make a copy at all of the zero tape?
We have a copy of it. We have the.
Could you send the original off? It's stapled to that one form there that has the 3 signatures, the open, the poll, zero count form, right?
I don't think we have any tapes laying around there.
Well, I know what they look like. I've seen them. That's the thing. Every time I've done an open records request and I've asked for a poll tape, which I still call DRE tapes, I always get the zero tape.
Yeah.
And so, and what's crazy is,
they can't send you the original one, they can make you a copy of it.
Right. That's all I want, like a little scanned PDF. That's what I usually get. And I got it for 5A, Marietta 5A. But for Marietta 5B, which didn't come until the following, like almost a week.
That concerns me.
And I literally just got a thing from Janine. I said, I want the original zero tape. You can't start the scanner without printing the zero tape.
No, I'm going to show you that when we go out.
I have the clip from the Secretary of State training.
Yeah.
And the process you do, it says you have to do it. You say yes, and then
and if
it's
you need
powered
more
up.
copies, you
Right.
say yes as many times
So
you need it.
right. So
Press Open Poll. Now press 0. Verify the 0 report when it's finished printing. Press No to continue or yes if you need more copies. The tabulator is now ready to scan ballots.
So it's impossible to start that machine up without printing a zero tape.
So what did she say?
She said, like, we no longer have the zero tape. We sent it to the Secretary of State. And she, not only that, she said, it's irrelevant. She says it's, I'll read it
What
to
do you
you.
mean it's irrelevant?
She said it's irrelevant.
It shows there's no votes on that machine.
Right, but she's saying it's irrelevant because, let's see. It's going to be this one. She goes, we do not have that anymore. It was attached to the opening the poll zero count form. Then it was sent to the Secretary of State. However, the original tape became irrelevant once the scanner was re-zeroed and a new zero tape was printed prior to scanning the ballot. And I wrote back, the original zero tape is a document verifying that the scanner had 0 votes on the morning of the election and also states the protective counter. It should be kept with the rest of the paperwork. It was stapled to the opening the poll zero count for a reason. Irrelevant, it is not. And I haven't even read this one. I said something like, so you're verifying that you sent it to them. And she says, I can have verified that, but we do not have it here. She can't verify that the original zero tape was sent to the Secretary of State. And here's my problem. I have a copy of the zero, the opening the poll. And it's all signed, all 3 of them. There's nothing attached to it. I didn't get the zero tape. And the thing that really is damning, in that top corner, where it says attach here, you can see the staple holes. It was attached. And so you would have to physically say, hey, I'm removing this, which there is no logic in that. Because even if you have the second one, you say, oh, that's the original. Fine, I'll ignore it because now I have this one. But that proves there were 0 votes. And you never throw it away. There's a reason why they call it a paper trail. And this is Janine feeding me this BS right to my face. I mean, I'm just like, I'm in shock.
But that's why when you sent me that picture of the tape that was dated the 15th, there's got to be a tape dated June the 9th.
That's exactly what I know should be happening.
And even if she did send that tape to the Secretary of State,
She should have a
have
copy.
a copy.
I
You can print. If I wanted 100 copies, I could print them.
Yeah,
just like
and
that.
it's quick.
Yeah, because it's easy.
I've got the 5A. I know it's done. Why is 5A still? I know they're going to say, oh, because we had to redo it and rescan it, but that's BS. You don't throw away documentation.
You still have the original one.
Here's where things get really interesting, and I go nonlinear. Remember how Janine couldn't tell me whether or not she sent the original zero tape to the Secretary of State's office? Well, I know, and she didn't, because back on July 17th, I submitted an open records request for the poll tape, including the zero tape, for MR5B. I was surprisingly sent the zero tape for MR5B. Unfortunately, this zero tape was printed on June 15th, just like the rescan of the poll tape, which means one thing. This is a bogus zero tape. It was not the one printed the morning of the election. It is fraudulent. So why is Cobb County sending a fraudulent zero tape to the Secretary of State's office? Another good question to ask yourself is, why is the Secretary of State's office coordinating with the Cobb County BRE? Why, do you ask? Well, because I had submitted an open records request for the poll tape, including the zero tape, with the Secretary of State's office. The poll tape was the very first thing I asked for. I only received the zero tape. Why did they assume that I already had the poll tape? I don't think they assumed. I think they're coordinating. There are 4 ultimate destinations for election paperwork. One is the superintendent. That's the elections director, Janine Evler, and she has proven less than transparent. 2 is the Secretary of State. They received a bogus zero tape from Janine Evler. 3 is the Registrar. His name's Bo Gunn. He works directly under Janine Evler, and he actually signed the MR5B rescan poll tape. So I doubt he's going to give me a copy of an original zero tape. And then last, that leaves me the Clerk of Superior Court, who has all of their election documents under seal, and it requires a superior judge's approval to access them. When I first contacted Rebecca Keaton, the Superior Court clerk, regarding an open records request for the poll tape and zero tape of MR5B, she didn't seem to be aware that she was the custodian of election documents, which are to be held under seal for a retention period of 24 months. Rebecca's courtside manager was the one who informed me that any documents or records maintained under seal by the clerk are not accessible unless there is an order from a Superior Court judge granting access. That's the legal way in the South of saying, bless your heart and bring lots of lawyers and money. So let's wrap things up with that formal complaint that I submitted to the State Election Board. I explained to the State Election Board in great detail my attempts to receive an original zero tape for Marietta 5B. I informed them that Elections Director Janine Evler was guilty of fraud for deliberately supplying the Secretary of State with a bogus zero tape. And lastly, I recommended that if the State Election Board were to review the election documents under seal with the Cobb County Clerk of Superior Court and discover that they too have been given a bogus zero tape, then they could add deliberate destruction of official election record documents to her crimes. So what does the Georgia State Election Board do when they spring into action? They try to bury the zero tape with the Clerk of Superior Court, which requires a superior judge to grant access to it. In short, the State Election Board is saying F you, and they don't mean Florida University. So this is how my email to the Georgia Secretary of State's office started this morning. It was entitled Intentional and Illegal Georgia Secretary of State Obfuscation. I added, the Secretary of State has made some utterly untenable changes to Georgia election procedures which have not been approved by the Georgia legislature nor the State Election Board. I ended the email by stating, what's the point of printing a zero tape if the public can never view it without a superior judge's approval? This is the epitome of obfuscation. This is utterly unacceptable. If you are affiliated with the Georgia Secretary of State or State Election Board, have you no shame? If you are a member of the media, I have many emails, videos, and audio recordings to share with you.